I'm pleased to welcome Patrik Allvin and his family to Vancouver and be part of the Canucks. Officially today, Patrik will start as the general manager of the Canucks. Him and I worked together for 7 years in Pittsburgh, and I really learned to respect him. Respect him not only as a person, but as a great hockey guy. He's worked in all aspects of hockey operations. He brings a lot of experience. He brings a winning culture to Vancouver by being part of winning 3 cups in Pittsburgh. And so I look forward to working with him again. I believe he's a great addition, and I'll turn it over to Patrik. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. I want to take the time here to thank the Aquilini family for giving me this opportunity to be the general manager of Vancouver Canucks. I want to thank them for trusting me here in the process, and for them stepping outside the box here to identify front office talent and leadership. I want to thank Jim Rutherford for giving me the opportunity to work with him in building this team moving forward. I want to take the time to thank the Pittsburgh Penguins for 15 years of service, being part of 3 cups, working with great people along the years. I want to thank Ron Hextall and Brian Burke for giving me the permission to talk to Vancouver Canucks here.
All right, great. So once again, if you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll start now with a question from Brendan Batchelor, Sportsnet 650.
Hi, Patrik. Congratulations. Welcome to Vancouver. Just your thoughts on how this process went forward, and your thoughts on being the first Swedish general manager in NHL history.
Well, obviously, it's a big honor for me taking on this opportunity and to work with Jim Rutherford, a Hall of Famer again. Obviously, to be part of the Vancouver Canucks too, and a lot of Swedish alumni players there. You see up in the ring of honors there what they mean to the franchise over the years. So I'm extremely excited and honored and proud to be part of Vancouver Canucks here moving forward.
And when you look at the task at hand here, as you step into the job, what are your biggest priorities right away taking over as the general manager of this team?
Well, obviously, I'm looking forward to meet up with the team and get to know the people, the staff and the players here, spend time with Jim and talk about the staff and the players. I think that's the most important thing here in the next couple of weeks, to evaluate and see where we are.
Next up, we'll go to Ian McIntyre, Sportsnet.
Good morning, gentlemen. Congratulations, Patrik. We can see the Lexand behind you there. So can you talk maybe a little bit about what it represents, means to you, and maybe what it represents for Swedish hockey to have an NHL GM?
Well, obviously, I think it's a big day for Swedish hockey and European part of the game here. I gotta be honest too. I think part of it is what the players have done in the National Hockey League over the years, and I think Vancouver has been extremely fortunate to have a lot of good European players, and obviously it's a big day for me. I'm truly honored and proud to be the first one, but also to join a team with Jim Rutherford. That's where I'm excited about.
And a follow-up for you, Patrik. Jim has talked a few times about his vision of bringing together a management team of people who have had different journeys, and obviously you're the first one to make it to this position through your journey through Swedish hockey. How much did that appeal to you, that idea, and what do you think that you will be bringing to the Canucks?
Well, it was appealing for sure, and I had a lot of friends around the league and general managers reaching out to me here last night, congratulate me to the job and the position. And I mean, I think working with Jim, I got to know him here 7 years ago, and I know how detailed and competitive he is. You know, he's always a forward thinker, and he really empowered his staff. I think that, you know, you're looking back in Pittsburgh, and even back to Carolina, the people he taught along the way here, and that have moved on to key positions around the league. So having Jim there, I think it's a great fit for the Vancouver Canucks and myself there.
Next up, we'll go to Patrick Johnston, Post Media.
Patrick, welcome. Saying finding good players seems to underestimate what scouting is about. What have you learned? What is your philosophy that you've sort of developed over the last 15, 20 years working as a scout in the NHL?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think you got to be open-minded. You know, this is a humble game. I think, you know, the players change and the game is changing consistently. So you got to be open-minded, and you're going to look for talent. And you got to trust your scouting staff and the people that works for you. You know, obviously, you know, we want to play a fast and skilled game. And I think in order to be successful, you got to be able to find players outside the first round in the NHL entry draft there. You need to complement the organization with college and European free agents. And I think that's something that I'm looking forward to and talk to our amateur staff about.
As you meet your new staff, what are the things you're going to be looking to hear, looking to see in their record to sort of understand where you need to go? You know, what changes you might need to make, what sort of additions to support who's already here you might need to make?
Well, first and foremost, I want to learn and see how they run their things here. I want to get a chance to get to know them. I think there is some good people in place here, and over the next couple of weeks, months, I think we'll get together and I hope I will give them a structure and a plan, what we're looking for here moving forward.
Next question comes from Jay Janauer, Global BC.
Jim, Patrick, congratulations on the hiring. Jim, I want to just ask you about just the state of this hockey team right now before I get to Patrick. You said you're going to take some time to evaluate this team. When I look at what you guys have done in Pittsburgh, I don't ever recall seeing a major rebuild. What do you think this team needs right now? And is it a shared vision amongst everybody in the front office in terms of how this team moves forward and what it looks like?
Yeah, well, when I first talked to you, I said that hopefully I could give you a better answer in a month or so. Unfortunately, we didn't see COVID spiking again and all the issues we've had to deal with as far as not having a full lineup. But I do like a lot of players here. I like what's just happened here just in the recent week or so when we've been shorthanded. Not totally happy that we only got 2 points out of 6 here at home, but when you look at a shorthanded staff, I give our players and coaches a lot of credit. They showed a lot of character and they gave everything they had and scratch and clawed to actually get a couple of points. So there's some good things going on here. We have to add more players to get to where we want to get to. And that's something that's going to have to be decided here leading up to the trading deadline. How do we go about that? And we got to figure out a way to get a little cushion on the cap. It's always difficult, but being up against the cap and a team that's not in the playoffs at this point in time is not a good thing. So some big decisions are coming up. But now that we've added more people to hockey ops, we're now in a position that stronger position to make those decisions.
Thank you, Patrick. Congratulations on your hiring. I want to ask you about a couple of gentlemen who who were just added to this organization, but I think we've all forgotten about. How much do you plan on using Daniel and Henrik Sedin? What do you see their role with this hockey team being?
Well, obviously what they've done for Vancouver Canucks in the city of Vancouver, I definitely want to have them on board here. Get an opportunity to meet them out in Vancouver for a 2-hour lunch, and I was really impressed with them as persons. What they talked about in terms of culture and identity and standards, that's something that I truly believe in, and I'm very excited to continue to have them on board here, and I really envision them to be a big part of this franchise moving forward.
Next up, we'll move to Gemma Karsten-Smith, the Canadian Press.
Hi, gentlemen. Thanks so much for doing this today. First question is for Jim. Jim, I'm wondering, you've obviously made quite a few hires in the last little while here, including Emily Castonguay on Monday. Have you filled out your front office now, or are there still positions that you're looking to fill here?
We could possibly still add a few more people. We're trying to make it as strong as we can. Not only we added Emily, we added Rachel in analytics last week. I mean, those are a couple of great additions for us. Looking at Ryan Johnson, how much more of a role he'll have. But we still have a couple of places where we can add. And that's important that Patrik has input on that. I'm sure he has people he's worked with over the years. And I've had several people, to say the least, contact me and want to be part of the Canucks. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another couple of additions at some point in time in the next few months.
Patrik, your name was one of the ones that was out kind of being talked about from the very beginning. What was it about Vancouver and about the Canucks that really drew you in here?
Well, obviously the history of the franchise is very intriguing, and the stage of the team right now. But I gotta be honest. I mean, the reason I'm here is excitement to work with Jim Rutherford again, and I know how he emphasized on to hiring good people and surround yourself with good people. That's something that I always believed in, and as I said about Daniel and Henrik, I believe that Jim have done a great job filling the staff, and I'm looking forward to meet all of them here.
We'll go next to Thomas Drance at The Athletic.
Congratulations, Patrik. Quick one for Jim to start with. Jim, now that you've got a general manager in place within your front office structure, how do you see the separation of responsibilities effectively working between you and Patrik? Does this free you up a bit to focus perhaps more on big picture? What are you expecting in terms of how the president and the GM and the hockey operations department will function together?
Well, I'm here to support the people that are working in hockey operations, and everybody has to do their own job, regardless, what their titles are, where they sit in the organization. I've always let people do their own job. Patrik is going to be able to work the day-to-day stuff as a general manager. When he needs some help with something or has questions, I'm going to be right there to try to work with him, just as I'll be with the person that heads up pro scouting or amateur scouting or whatnot. That's what I'm here for, but also to see the big picture. We have some things that we would like to do in the organization, such as possibly have a new practice facility at some point in time. What we're doing with development camp, what we're doing with rookie tournament, what we're potentially doing maybe with upgrading the Abbotsford facilities, the facilities here in the Rogers Arena. There's a lot of things to be done, and it's like when I was going to work one day early on when I met my wife, Leslie. She said, "What are you going to do today?" And I said, "I don't know." But I said, "By the time I get home tonight, I'll guarantee I can tell you about 10 new things that I've had to do." And that's the way this business works. There's a lot of work and certainly enough work for everybody to do.
And a question for Patrik. Patrik, you've been in NHL front offices for 20 years, 12 as a scout, and then almost a decade as a director, and more recently as an assistant general manager. As you've gained additional responsibilities within hockey operations, how have you had to adjust in terms of the humility, in terms of trusting people, because you naturally will have less time at the rink, and how do you think that will change now that you're a general manager?
Well, first and foremost, trying to be myself. I believe that you shouldn't change your personality regarding what kind of title or job you have. So I always trust my staff and treated them with respect. And in the end of the day, we know we're working for the best of the Vancouver Canucks here, and somebody got to make a decision, and that's going to be the general manager. But there's no egos around here. We're all working for the ultimate goal of bringing a Stanley Cup to the city of Vancouver and the Vancouver Canucks. So I'm going to just continue to be myself.
We'll go next to Jeff Patterson, Rinkwide Podcast.
Patrik, congratulations on the appointment and welcome to Vancouver. We had the chance to talk to Emily Castengay on Monday, and I think many were impressed with the way she conducted herself in her introductory Zoom. The hockey community is a relatively small circle. I just wonder, do you have any direct connections to her in any dealings when she was an agent? And how excited are you to now work with her as you guys try to build something here in Vancouver?
I'm very impressed by Emily. I had several people around the league that reached out to me here yesterday and talked about her as a person and what she had done. And I give credit to Jim and the Ekman-Larsson family for thinking outside the box here, bringing in quality people. I haven't dealt directly with Emily, but she had a player in our organization in Pittsburgh there. I've been very, very impressed to see how she conducts herself over the years. And I'm really looking forward to get to know her and work with her.
You were asked earlier by Patrick Johnson about scouting and your views on that. I wonder a little bit about your view on the use of an organization's farm team. And I realize you're just starting here and haven't had a chance probably to really go through the depth chart with the Vancouver Canucks, but it seemed that Wilkes-Barre did a great job of developing and producing players for the NHL level, something that really hasn't happened here with the Canucks in the last decade. How important is it to integrate players from your farm system, draft, develop, and ultimately work them to the National Hockey League?
Good question. I think that's the key in today's game. I think that's something we want to emphasize on moving forward here in order to be successful. I think Ron Johnson had done a tremendous job managing Abbotsford. I heard a lot of good things about him. I'm looking forward to get to know him and work with him even more. But I do think that that's the key, to establish a culture for the younger players down in Abbotsford, set the standard, and have a lot of homegrown players. I think that's, to your point, I think that was something that we've been successful with in Pittsburgh. And I think every player has their own path. There's not a sprint to get to the NHL. It's a marathon. So you got to be patient with the players, and you got to support them with the right people and coaches and the development staff, and help every single player to maximize their chances to become a full-time NHL player. And I think we have tremendous people here in Ryan and Henrik and Daniel Sedin to be around those young players so they can learn.
Great. We have time for a few more. We'll go next to Farhan Lalji, TSN.
Jim, I'll start with you. You had mentioned that you've got some big decisions coming. How involved will Patrik be in those decisions? And I say that because you've had a chance to evaluate a lot of these players now. Will you go through the same process with Patrik, give him that opportunity to evaluate before those decisions get made, or might you take the lead on some of the more short-term decisions?
No. Patrik Patrik is going to do that work. And it'll be involving everybody in the organization. Everybody's going to have their input. But Patrik has to gather all that information, make his decision when he certainly doesn't have to come running to me every time he's making a decision. But when we get into some of the bigger decisions, I'll be a little bit more involved. But it's Patrik's job. He's the general manager, and he has to work hard, and he has to make those decisions.
Patrik, congratulations and welcome. I'll ask you, I mean, looking at what you've done previously, your strengths appear to be in scouting and player evaluations. Where are some of the areas you believe you're still growing and maybe want some more support?
Well, obviously, being part of the changes here in Pittsburgh over the last year, I got more hands-on working with the coaching staff, Mike Sullivan, and dealing with the players on day-to-day basis. And I think I learned a lot by that. But I think maybe that would be something. Overall, I've been very, very fortunate, as I said, over the years in Pittsburgh to be included in a lot of day-to-day stuff by the former assistant GMs here that moved on to other teams. They always included me, and I think that starts from the top by Jim Rutherford and Ray Shero being the GMs of the Pittsburgh Penguins and making sure to collaborate and empower their staff. So I feel that I've learned, and I'm taking a step every day, and I definitely feel I'm ready for this position now.
Next is Bick Nazar, Sportsnet 650.
Good morning, Patrik, and congratulations on the appointment. I want to take you back to the 2017 draft. What do you remember about Elias Pettersson in that pre-draft process, and how has that evaluation changed or been confirmed seeing him in the NHL?
Well, I remember meeting a 17-year-old tiny kid for lunch in Sundsvall, Sweden. I think he had schnitzel, and he was going to buy a draft suit after. Obviously, he's a high talented player. Very impressive transition from the SHL in Sweden to the NHL. I still think there is a lot of room for him to grow. I'm pretty sure that he has even more potential to become a better player, a better leader, and all that regards with more maturity and guidance here in the next couple of years.
And you mentioned Brian Burke's name off of the top of your statement there. What intel did he give you about working in Vancouver?
Well, he obviously he was there for a long time, and he really enjoyed his time there. He said, beautiful city, great people, and he mentioned that he drafted the Sedins, he only good things to say about Vancouver Canucks and Vancouver.
Next up, we'll go to Rob Williams, Daily Hive.
Hi, Patrik. This team hasn't drafted much in recent years. Is it important to you that the organization acquires more draft picks going forward?
Well, I think that's something we're going to talk, Jim and I and our staff here over the next couple of weeks and months and see what direction we're going. I coming from Pittsburgh, we parted ways with a lot of picks, but we always find ways to get players. I think that this organization with fewer picks coming up, I think this is a great landing spot for a lot of European and college free agent players. They're going to get opportunities. I think this organization and team getting tested right now, using Mike Sullivan's quote, that next man up mentality. I think this is great for Jim and myself to evaluate what we have in our depth charts and get to see a lot of players. And test the character of our leadership on our team here. And so far, to Jim's point, they've done a really, really good job. So we don't want to use any excuses, but we need to find ways to get better every day. And I'm sure our scouting staff will be up for this task to find more players and better players.
And you've been a part of a few Stanley Cup winners in Pittsburgh. What do you think it will take for this franchise to be able to challenge for a Stanley Cup?
Well, I think you need obviously structure, and you need a good depth. I think 1 year in Pittsburgh, I think we ended up with 5 or 6 players that started the season in Wilkes-Barre. Ended up with their names on the Stanley Cup. I think that it's a very, very competitive league, and you need good depth. So for us to become a consistent playoff team and a consistent contender, we need to build up the depth of the organization. And that's through the draft and signing of European and college free agent players.
We'll take 2 more here, starting with Rob Simpson, Vancouver Hockey Now.
Thank you, Marcus. Congratulations, Patrik. Jim, for you first, is it almost surprising it's taken this long that, the league's been 30% European for a long time, that it's taken so long for another European GM? And also maybe work in the story about the fact that Patrik went from being your director of European scouting to being your director of amateur scouting and was actually commuting for a while.
Well, yeah, I think it's a little bit of a surprise that it's taken this long. There's been a lot of good hockey people around the world, and but they're a little bit removed from North America where the NHL plays, and sometimes they've gotten overlooked in the past. But now we're starting to go in that direction. You got Jarmo in Columbus, who's done a good job, and now we got Patrik here in Vancouver, and you'll probably see a little more of that in the future.
And Patrik, when you came over to play in Atlanta and Nashville in the mid-90s, I'm sure that was an interesting experience. Did you kind of have an idea already that you wanted to pursue certain things after your playing career was over? And what did the taste of North America do for you in that regard, in terms of your future?
It was great. It was a great experience. I met a lot of good people there, and people that are still involved in hockey in the National Hockey League. I like that this side of the game. It's a competitive game. So it's hard to envision you go back to be a general manager, but when I got the opportunity to start to work in Montreal as a part-time scout, I thought that this was really interesting and really intriguing. And the more I got to learn about the National Hockey League and the hockey ops and meeting a lot of good people, I really made it easier for me and my family, my wife and 2 kids to make the move here 2018, I believe, and the support from Jim. And it was an easy transition. It really was. And again, I was very, very fortunate to work with a lot of good people.
Our final question today comes from David Quadrelli of Nation Network.
Patrik, congratulations on the new role. Jim, I have a question for you. Obviously, this was just a long interview process that you were obviously taking your time with and wanted to make the right decision. What about Patrik, just in the interview process, made him stand out among the other candidates?
Well, as we've said here, I've known Patrik for a long time, and I know how he works, and I knew that he was a legitimate candidate. But I wanted to go through the process, and I narrowed it down to 5, but I talked to a lot of people, a lot of phone conversations with different people that were also good candidates. But then when we narrowed it down to 5, we had the meetings in person, and all the interviews were very good, very, very good, all 5 candidates. But Patrik did stand out, and he's a very smart guy. He knows players. He knows how to evaluate players. He knows how to find players. He's well connected in Europe. where we'd like to get into that market a little bit more and try to get some players out of there. And he has a lot of good things going for him. And like I said, we already have the working relationship. We know how that's going to go.
Okay, doesn't look like we have a follow-up from David, so we'll leave it there for today. Thanks everyone so much for joining, and our thanks to Jim Rutherford and Patrik Allvin for joining us today. We'll have regular media availability coming up shortly with head coach Bruce Boudreau on our regular Zoom link. Thanks everyone, and take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.